Hello, welcome to the first annual German Media Diaries. Not annual, but periodic. So this is a series that I did learning Spanish, just talking about things that I was using that were created in Spanish, or in this case, German. So not really like educational materials like textbooks or courses, but immersion materials. Because I know it can be kind of difficult to like break into native materials as a learner, because obviously inherently, you can't necessarily understand when natives are talking about the things that they enjoy. So I have some shows, some movies, some podcasts, and YouTube to talk about today. For reference, when I talk about my comprehension, I am basically a false beginner, so I would say I probably have somewhere between like A2 and very low B1 understanding, potentially much lower production. But I always watch all of my shows with double subtitles from Language Reactor, so obviously all of them are going to be like fairly comprehensible. Shows. I have watched 2 seasons of the show Achtsam, Morden, which is I think called Murder Mindfully in English. This is a pretty entertaining show. You're following a lawyer who has a client who is basically like a mob boss, and he ends up kind of having to go rogue with his law practice and basically become a mob boss himself, basically. Very silly, very ridiculous, quite violent, but in an absurdist way, basically. It's overall a comedy type show. I enjoyed it. I will keep watching it. I assume they're making a 3rd season, but the 2nd season just came out, so I don't know. Give it like a C+, B- maybe. I watched the show Kitz, and this is a teenage drama show very similar to like Elite from Spain or those kind of shows. It is set in the mountains of like Kitz, which is like a resort town type of area in Austria, which is frequented often by rich people from Munich because it's apparently very accessible. And so there are a lot of like class dynamics between the 2 places. And the main character is a native of Kitz, starting a kind of revenge plot against the people that she, holds responsible for the death of her brother. Again, completely ridiculous, but it was entertaining enough. The ending was ridiculous. I really didn't like it, but it was fine. It was good for language learning, watching. I wouldn't recommend it outside of that. Then we have liebes, which I think is called Dear Child in English. And this one, I went through quite a journey with this show because at first I was like, this is so good. Why isn't this popular like even outside of German Netflix, And then in the middle I was like, what is happening and why is this so like slow and stupid? And then like honestly it pretty much brought it back around at the end. Like I ended it out pretty much like, oh, okay. So basically this woman like escapes from a captive situation, trying to figure out where she was. She has this child with her, and yeah, it's this whole thing. So I won't spoil any more of it, but it was entertaining. Then for movies, I watched it's kind of called like a trilogy. It's not actually a trilogy. They are completely unconnected, but it's 3 very famous movies by this famous German director, Christian Petzold, I think. And they call it like the Love in Oppressive Time or something like that. And I actually really liked all 3 of these movies. So I can't decide if I want to go on and watch all of the movies from this director that I can find, or if I want to save some of them for the future. But the first movie is called Barbara. And this is a doctor who tried to apply to leave East Germany in the time of the wall, and it was denied, and she was therefore kind of like exiled to this small town to be like monitored instead of being able to work in Berlin. And so she's, working in this small town, meeting locals and other people that have been kind of exiled there, but she still wants to leave, obviously. I really liked this movie a lot. Then we have Phoenix. This one was wild, very surreal seeming. This woman, after the end of the war, is reunited with her husband, who she suspects potentially sold her out to like the Gestapo. So she went to a concentration camp. but she immediately comes back when she can and pretends basically that nothing happened. So super sad. Context and a lot of things that happen in this one are quite sad, but also it's called like Hitchcockian, like it's very dark setting, like everything is kind of a little bit eerie. And then Transit is a very interesting like setup and everything. So you are following a German man in Marseille, France. The south of France is about to be taken over by the Germans. Everyone there who could be considered like problematic to the Germans, including like Germans who are critical of Germany, whatever, is kind of trying really desperately to leave. And so this guy kind of has an opportunity to take on another identity in order to leave. And he keeps crossing paths with this woman, and other things happen. I don't want to give away anything else. Super interesting movie, and the way that he incorporated the setting and like tied it into modern times. Really, really liked it. So all of these were in like the 4-ish star range. Like, we're bumping outside. So I really enjoyed them. I'm hoping that once I am able to watch them and like really understand all the dialogue and everything, that I will like them even better, but we'll see. All 3 of these are on Canopy, if that is a service that your library uses. They only have English subtitles, but they're on there. Then podcasts. I am primarily listening at this time to learner podcasts, but German has some banging learner podcasts. Like, it is really amazing. So of course, super obvious, super common, but I have to say Easy German, it is that famous for a reason. I love Easy German. I'm finally able to actually understand a lot of it. I mean, there are definitely still episodes whose topics I am like, I know what we're talking about, I don't know what you're saying about it. But then there are other episodes that I'm able to follow like completely. So I just find the hosts really good at what they do, like both the topics, the like small talk with between things, the banter, the way that they speak really slowly and clearly, but not in like an obnoxious way at all. Like sometimes when people are making content for learners, they get like this really annoying cadence and tone, and they don't do that at all. So yeah, really nice. Then also, I really love the podcast Deutsch Lernen. I had this one saved, but for whatever reason, I hadn't listened to it. And then I think Tanya maybe recommended it to me. I can't remember. Yeah, this one's also really good. 2 hosts. One of them is originally Finnish, I think. I mean, she's still Finnish, but like super high level of German. And then the other one is German, and they're both German teachers, but they also have a really clear, wonderful way of speaking. Then for YouTube, I've been watching quite a bit of YouTube in German, but I'm still finding my like go-to channels, but 2 that already are go-to channels that I watch regularly. The first one is Brust, Raus. This is a like produced channel. Like there are multiple hosts that do videos about different topics, mostly kind of pop culture, things that are going on, trends in the internet world or in the real world. Again, since it is kind of produced, it is a little bit more comprehensible than a lot of people just kind of speaking off the cuff, but it is still obviously native content. So again, I'm usually using Language Reactor to watch these. And then a booktuber that I really enjoy, vita, wirt, maybe? She speaks quite fast, I think. So a lot of times I don't know what she's saying when she goes off on a little blah, 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 blah. But other times, you know, she's speaking much slower, more normal cadence. And she just is fun to watch. I don't know. I enjoy watching a lot of booktubers who read books that aren't really in my typical genres. When I'm watching videos about like literary books, I have a different part of my brain engaged because I'm like, I might want to read that, you know? Whereas this is just like, it's an observation sport for me instead of a participation sport. So yeah, that is round 1, episode 1 of German Media Diaries. Absolutely wild that we've finally reached this point after how many years on this channel where I am finally actually taking German seriously again. And it's great. I love it. So Thank you for watching, and if you have any recommendations, definitely leave them below, and I will see you in the next video.